What is up, guys, and welcome to a new podcast where we will be talking all things Liverpool. It is the Euan Marshall Liverpool Podcast. Basically, the whole point of this series or podcast is to talk all things Liverpool, and especially transfers and injuries, etc. But today, I'm going to basically say what the podcast is going to have, who we're going to have on, little things like that. And if you want to inquire to be on the podcast, check me out on social media at Euan Marshall, and you could be on this podcast where we talk all things Liverpool. So basically, the podcast, I'm going to have people on from the world of Liverpool, from Twitter, YouTube, etc., all social media type things, and we're going to talk about the situation at Liverpool, which is the midfield. Because as you know, last night we had Milner, Fabinho and Elliott in the midfield, which in my opinion is not going to win us diddly squat farm. We are absolutely on our knees. Because it reminds me a bit of Leicester. You look at them, their fans aren't getting overly worried that their club legend Schmeichel's left. All the clubs in the Premier League want their players. They've not signed a single player. And with Liverpool, I kind of see a bit of similarity. Nunez is just Mane's replacement. And we've bought two young teenagers. That's it. And you're saying to me that Man City buying Haaland, Phillips, that Argentinian striker, completely Alvarez, the left back they're buying isn't going to make them stronger. Yes, they lost Sterling and Jesus, but in my opinion, they didn't play hardly any games at all anyway. They were just off the bench. So we are in a bit of trouble. The owners obviously don't want to spend money because they've got Bellingham lined up for next summer. So I believe that, well, in my opinion, they're just holding out for him. He's going to cost an arm and a leg. So that's that. But basically with the podcast, we're just going to be discussing that kind of thing and all like the new gossip, and obviously last night the Nunez red card as well. We're talking things like that. So we're going to get guests on. There'll be one podcast every week or so, just kind of basically talking about the latest news every week for Liverpool, basically, because there's not much more to say, because I don't want to do a podcast every day, because then they'll just be too repetitive, because it'll be the same news, like we just need a midfielder, Nunez's red card, etc. So this is just going to be every week. I'll get guests on. But yeah, like I said, if you wanted to be in the podcast, make sure to do this. I started playing this about a half an hour ago, so bear with me. This is like really just an introduction, even though it's going to be classed as the first episode. I've got some guests lined up already, so I'm going to start recording them, but they'll probably be released later on in the week. So make sure, guys, to smash the like button if you want to see this podcast, all things Liverpool, and have a good day. Goodbye.